Amazon account for an amount of 1,500.
Hi, Maurice. It's Patty. Are you there?
Good morning. This is Mary Seawright.
Hi, Patty. Yes, I'm here.
Did you get the the 2 emails I sent? I apologize on the lateness of it. I literally just received them.
No, I did not. I don't have my email open when I'm running these meetings.
Okay. I sent it to Carmela as well. I have 2 photos and a certificate of occupancy for the first docket, 118-21, that I forwarded over. We'll deal with it accordingly. If there's a way, like I'll pull them up, and if I need to share screen or something, we have other ways. If you can't get to them, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Thank
Let me
you.
see. I can.
This is Diane. I'm checking in.
Good morning. We will begin the meeting at 9:30.
This is Mary Seawright.
Good morning.
Good morning.
J'ai fait une conférence. Je me présente.
Thank you, Untitled.
Tu vas faire maintenant là, non? Ouais, je suis à la porte. Oui, j'ai lu le message. Tu as déjà fait? Bon, il faut attendre.
Is Pastor Blessings on? Happy Wednesday, everyone.
Good morning.
MGM Enterprise, Pastor Blessings.
Good morning, it's Patty. Mr. Chairman, do we only have 3 members today? Or is Mr. Bradley one of the call-ins?
Mr. Bradley is, I'm not sure
We
if
only have,
he's,
we have 3 members. If,
One moment, please, Patty. One more.
Okay.
We're working out the
Thank you.
technical issues.
Thank you. You know where I'm going if we only have 3. Thank you, the advisement. Thank
right.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes. My name's Kurt Graham, and
I
trying
can't
to-
hear you.
Yes,
The
my
meeting
name
has
is
not been
Kurt
called to
Graham.
order yet. The meeting has not been called to order yet.
Okay,
Do
thank
see you in
you.
attendance. When we call your name, then you will give your swearing in, okay? Give us a
Thank
few more
you.
minutes. Mr. Chairman, you can go ahead and read the preamble. I'm still gonna work with Mr. Howard on the
Okay.
technical end.
Okay. Mr. Rillens? Okay. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you, and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded by way of the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed by way of YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter by way of our website and email have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have promised whoever, excuse me, have provided written comment on a particular matter.
Mr. Chairman, I can confirm that we are live streaming on YouTube.
Ms. Austin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Rulins. Mr. Chairman, the city does object to the use of the live chat as we do each hearing. If we were meeting in the room 514 at City Hall, the chatting on the side would not be allowed to occur. And this is in a conjunction with the posted pandemic rules on the Ohio Supreme Court website. And I will request you give a 3-member advisement in case Mr. Bradley is unable to. Oh, he might be here, but if he's if Mr. Bradley is here, we don't need it. If he is not here, we would need the 3-member advisory. Thank you.
Okay. We'll give them a moment to see if he comes in.
This is Diane Bijay from Michael Cantrell.
You have to wait. They haven't called any dockets, ma'am. They're still doing.
Oh, okay.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is hazardous conditions. Maintenance and inspection of sprinklers issued November 4th, 2021. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law, with the appellant for docket 11821. Please state your name for the record. Diane, that's your cue.
Ms. Bija?
Yes.
Okay. So you're representing Mr. Cantrell, right?
Yes. And you'll
Okay.
forgive me. I do wear a
Mr.
hearing
Chairman.
aid, but I'm finding it very difficult to hear everybody.
This
Okay.
is Patty. Mr. Chairman, we also have Lieutenant Talbot and Lieutenant Wyke on behalf of the fire department, and the violation notice is a cease use for the record.
Okay.
So the record is clear. We do have, it is a fire order, and the fire department is present on that matter, as well as, I apologize on behalf of the city, but I did send over to Ms. Davis and Mr. Rulins important documentation this morning, because that was when fire was able to get it to me. But when you swear in, if you could swear in fire as well. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go ahead and swear in everybody that's going to be giving testimony in this case. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do. I do.
Okay. Do we have Mr. Bradley on?
Mr. Bradley is on. He's still trying to connect his audio with the phone, but he is on. His video is on. He can see the screen.
Okay. All right. So if we have to, we can get him through the phone then. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Bija, and give us your what you're going to do here.
Since the mishap of the burning, we have not burnt anymore. We have taken serious steps to fill these burn pits and now use them as gravel storage areas. Pictures were submitted to the city, and we received a letter on December 20th thanking us for the documentation and telling us that written corrective action plan had been sent by email, and that the resolution of the violation is the title of the letter.
To get $9,000.
We also then went in and applied for our permit of occupancy, which we were given, and as we speak, the $49,000
Excuse me,
renovation
could I
to
interrupt for a minute?
sprinkler system is underway.
Ms. Bija, hold on.
Whoever is talking in the background, please mute your phone.
No, nobody's here. I'm alone in the whole building.
Yeah,
It's call-in user 6.
there you go.
Well, that's not me.
No, that's not you. I'm just
Okay,
having you
taken
pull
care of.
from.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you. Sorry to
Someone
interrupt.
was- Yeah,
Would you
someone
like
was
me to start
talking.
again?
Go ahead.
Okay, I have a, notice of plan approval and receipt and permit of occupancy in hand. I have a letter called resolution of violation in hand where we submitted to the city. The pictures you're seeing on the screen was our contained burned area. We were not aware we couldn't burn there. We did try to make provisions to burn properly, but we sent in pictures documenting that all of these burn areas are now our gravel storage. So gravel is in this particular blocked in area. And we have two of them, and both of them are filled with gravel. We're now storing our gravel there.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patricia McGinty Aston on behalf of the city of Cleveland, both building and housing and fire in this matter. Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, Ms. Baja, did you get a fire permit from Fire Prevention Bureau separate from the building application?
No, I was not advised I needed that. I can go
Okay,
down and get one today if I need to.
Ma'am, if I can continue, I just needed a yes or no because I needed to, that was my follow-up was, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Baja. In your appeal packet, you provided a Foxfire quote for $49,542. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, did you enter into a contract with them?
We actually entered into a contract since then with
who?
someone else, and they are in the process of doing the work.
And who is, Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, who is that someone else?
Oh, I'm gonna remember his name. Tim. I don't have that information. Well, maybe I do.
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Baja, the appellant's representative, did you say they're already working at the property?
Yes, they are.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, they are working without a permit. The fire will testify to that. Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Rulins, do you happen to have the certificate of occupancy? Or if I can screen share?
I have it.
Ma'am, Ms. Baja, if you could hang on a second, if I can do my
Okay.
things and then you can respond, I'll get all of
Okay.
this in and then you can respond. Just
Ma'am, may I just say that right now they're just in the process of ordering materials, and that might be why the permit isn't secured yet.
Ma'am, you testified just now that they're working at the property.
Well,
I'm going.
they've
Mr.
been
Chairman, if the
hired
city can
and
put forth our evidence and testimony, and then she can respond accordingly, if I may,
okay,
please.
thank you.
Mr. Rulins, do you have, I can screen share if I'm allowed, but it says I cannot. If you allow me access, I can screen share. Mr. Chairman, the city will.
I'm working on it.
Thank you, sir. We have a certificate of occupancy number 07733 signed by Mr. Vilkes, dated 9/9/1997. I did email it. I apologize. It was sent to me. There it is, sent to me late by the fire department. This is the current certificate of occupancy for the authorized use at the property. Mr. Vanover will most certainly testify to the current application and what is currently issued on behalf of the building department, which does not, as this board is well aware, does not stop the requirement of getting the proper fire permit in hand prior to work commencing. Fire will testify as to why they got to the property through air pollution control complaints for the burnings. Fire will testify as to the current conditions that they've seen at the property or what is reported to them at the property, as well as no fire permit having been applied for or issued. But this is the current allowable use. And if you will see the special conditions, Mr. Chairman, it is clearly stated they must maintain a fire suppression system per CFPB requirements as a requirement. They are in violation of this. The cease use is issued correctly. At the conclusion of all of the testimony, Mr. Chairman, regardless of the fact that a building permit, plan approval and permit which may have been issued in hand does not alleviate the fire requirements, we are going to ask that you deny the appeal for time. They have to get their fire permit, and we'll ask that you uphold the cease use as properly issued for what was going on at the time, and remand to the Department of Safety Division of Fire. If you could hear from the fire department and Mr. Vanover, and then before you hear from Ms. Baha again. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Should we call Mr. Vanover first?
It's technically, Mr. Chairman, it is technically a fire order. If you could hear from fire first, it is a cease use fire order.
Okay.
So if you could hear from fire first as to the history, as to how we got here today, and then Mr. Vanover as to the processing issues. Thank you. But
Okay.
But fire still has a permit requirement under the Cleveland codes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So we'll hear from whoever's going to speak, Mr. Telbin or Mr. Wyke.
Okay, Mr.
Lieutenant.
This is Lieutenant Telbin. We responded to the address for a complaint of open burning, illegal burning, on 2 separate occasions. An apparatus was dispatched to put the fire out the first time, and then a day or 2 later,
Okay.
called back.
Lieutenant Telbin, you're not coming through. You either have to come closer or you're very faint. They can't hear you.
All right, can you hear me better now?
Little bit.
Okay.
Better.
Better? All
Yes.
right, sorry about that. Okay, we responded to a illegal burning call, sent an apparatus out to put the fire out on the first occasion. I think it was a day or 2 later, we got called back again through air pollution control. They were burning again, and we sent an engine back out to put the fire out the second time. At that time, I sent prevention inspectors over to the address to see what was going on at the location. And Lieutenant Wyke was one of the first ones to respond to that area, and I'll let him take it from here for what he saw when he came on scene.
Okay.
So when we arrived on scene, we asked if they had any domestic water to extinguish the fire. And that's at that time we realized the domestic water and the fire line were both shut off. And that's why the order's been issued for the
For no sprinklers. Okay.
Yeah, the sprinkler system, after we went in and took an investigation of it, there were parts of the system not intact, missing pipe, so it wasn't a complete system. So even with the water, it wouldn't have been a functioning system. And we also noticed there were people living in the upstairs apartment at the time that we arrived, and we told them that we had to vacate the building. There was a heavy fire load in the building, which is like their construction materials and stuff, all unprotected.
Okay. We want to get a response from Ms. Bija.
Well, I'm going to be honest, I'm still having a very difficult time hearing what he's saying. I would just like to say that we have made a request to City Water and Sewer to come out and reconnect the water line, which is disconnected at the street. And I was told it would be 12 to 14 weeks. We still haven't heard back from them. The people we hired are in the process of getting all the material. They really can't do the work till the water's on, but they're hired. So possibly that's why the permit hasn't been pulled. But I humbly ask the board to consider that I am working really hard on this. I build garages, so I don't know your procedures, and I'm kind of walking in the dark trying to get all the paperwork right. But I do know that my guy can't fix a sprinkler without water. And as we all know, water and sewer is so far behind that I can't even get somebody out to give me water yet.
Okay. Now there is some missing parts to the sprinkler system stated by the lieutenant.
I didn't hear you.
Mr. Chairman, if you could, let's hear from Mr. Vanover as to what is in process, what's been approved by the building department. And I would again say that the fire system contractor must still make application, get review and approval from the fire department, and fire system contractors know that. But if you could hear from Mr. Vanover.
Okay, Mr. Vanover.
Good morning. Tom Vanover with the City of Cleveland. So I do have a couple of questions as a follow-up. So yes, there is a established use permit that is been issued through the Department of Building and Housing. And I guess my next question would be from the Division of Fire, because the inoperable or broken parts of the sprinkler system, does it require a permit to repair it?
Yeah, in the city of Cleveland, any repairs would require a permit.
Okay, so that's different than the building code, because replacements and repairs under the building code would not require a permit, depending on what, the extent of the, depending on the extent of what the repairs are. So if they're replacing heads or they're replacing pipes or hangers, they need a permit for all of that?
Well, I would say if they're replacing, similar to the building code, if they're just replacing heads, then no. But if you're actually replacing pipe, turning the water back on, like she said, the water shut off for some reason, then yes, I would say you need a permit to ensure that you got the hydraulics and there's no deviation from what the system demands.
Okay, and then I'm trying, I apologize, my computer's running slow. The order, the cease use order, Mr. Chairman, to Lieutenant Wakey, the cease use order is because the building is not sprinklered, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and under the previous certificate of occupancy, as Ms. Aston showed, it does require that it be sprinklered. So I guess based on that testimony, if they turn the water back on, they need a permit from the Fire Prevention Bureau to do that. So there is a change of use permit. Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, why was the change of the established use permit pulled?
Ms. Bisha?
I didn't know we did a change of use permit.
Yeah, there's Mr. Chairman, to the appellate. Yeah, there's a permit in the system for us to establish the use of the warehouse, but there's already a certificate of occupancy to establish the use. There's no plans attached to it, so
I'm not sure what you mean by plans, but a full package was submitted with total drawings and layouts of the building, documentation of the building being built. I have a full package that was submitted when I went to the building department.
Okay, so they're not.
And I do have that on hand still.
Okay, so they're not electronic, so I apologize, I can't see them. Is the expectation to remove the sprinkler system?
Did they ask me to remove it?
No, Mr. Chairman, I'm just trying to understand what was applied for. So it sounds like from testimony, the expectation is to repair the sprinkler system.
That's correct.
As it's currently designed at 16,000 square feet of storage, the facility does require a sprinkler system. That threshold is 12,000. I know it's, Mr. Chairman, the appellate, it's business and storage. I don't know how much business is in there, but there is a requirement for the sprinkler system to be operable. And even if the building doesn't require a sprinkler system, if there is a sprinkler system, then if there is a sprinkler system, it has to work accordingly. So a fire prevention permit, especially based on the scope of work, I don't know that the scope of work, the Fire Prevention Bureau can review the quote to verify that the scope of work presented is what is actually needed in the building. But I will also add a couple of other things. in that, one, you have it requires a separate permit to store construction materials outside. The permit that was, the permit that was submitted was for the inside, for the warehouse itself. And outside storage requires a separate permit. And we attempted to inspect because we have received complaints about somebody living on the second floor of the warehouse.
Not anymore. I had a night watchman staying there, but he's not there anymore.
Okay. Is there still an apartment upstairs?
Is there still a what?
Is there still an apartment upstairs?
An apartment?
Yeah, where he was staying?
Yeah, it's empty. I mean, we didn't tear it down.
Right. So, Mr. Chairman, what that is, we would request that any resolution be met with an inspection from the building inspectors for that purpose, basically to inspect the whole facility, including the apartment. And just as a point of, and again, I apologize, I don't have the plans with me. If there's an expectation, if it's built as an apartment, there's an expectation that that's the use. So the options, Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, are to either establish the use of the apartment for the night watchman or to remove all indicia of the apartment.
I'm sorry. When we purchased this building, there were cabinets and a sink and bathrooms already there. And I mean, if it's a matter of taking out a couch, the upstairs is empty. I mean, but it's set up as standard office. There's still a sink and a bathroom. And I mean, do you want us to tear out the bathrooms?
Well, I wanted you to not use an office as, Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, we want them to not use an office as an apartment.
Yeah, okay, and we're not. So I have no problem with the building inspection coming out and discovering
and if I can finish there, if the expectation is that's going to be a night watchman suite with a fully sprinklered building, that is an option. You can make that legal, but you have to apply, but it has to be applied for. So
okay, thank you.
So we would set up an appointment under this current permit for the inspectors to look at it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we've heard the.
Right, Mr. Chairman, this is Patty again. To wrap everything up, I'm going to still request, based upon all the evidence, testimony, and statements that have been given, if they're in the middle of the process, they've started the billing process. It has been since November. If she's got a new fire systems person, they know the fire. It's a small community. They know the process. They have to go to fire prevention to get their fire permit. Ask that you uphold the cease use as properly issued. We're going to ask that you deny additional time based upon what was going on at the property, and remand to fire, because given more time in the history, the city is not certain that the proper procedures will be followed, and we would like to be able to enforce if necessary. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Bijou, what were you looking for as far as time to abate?
Sir, because I'm at the mercy of the water and sewer, and they had promised me 12 to 14 weeks, it has been that, and they're still not there. I am at the mercy of them. I can come pull the permit, and now that I'm aware that how I need to do that, and I will take all the steps necessary, including getting my sprinkler guy to come get permitted. But to honestly, in front of God and this board, say I will have it done by a certain date, I'd have to have the water department to swear in on this meeting.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, as the representative for the city departments, no, they don't. What they need to do, Mr. Chairman, clearly, is to make the proper procedure. The permits are the license to do the work. So a little bit of a red herring. We don't need the water department. We don't need the sewer department. What we need to have is the appellant properly do what needs to be done, which is to have their licensed contractor contact the fire department and make application. That's what needs to be done. The process then proceeds because those permits are the license under law to do the work and gives the time to do the work. As of right now, she's not asking for time to get a permit. She's not, I don't know what she's asking for.
I'm asking
but
for
we're-
time to get the job completed. I'll go get the permit
Under
today.
Mr. Chairman, hold up, Patty, Ms. Bijak, we have to have some type of rule, some type of order. Please wait, use the function of raising your hand. Wait until the chairman recognizes you before you speak. We cannot continue to overtalk on one another. I cannot get this recorded properly. My court reporter is not going to be able to get the notes properly. I'm asking everyone to respect one another on this hearing. Wait until you are acknowledged by the chairman before you begin to give your testimony. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Davis. Ms.
May I
Aston,
finish?
go ahead.
Thank you.
and
Just to finish,
up.
again, the city asks that you uphold, deny, remand. The completion time comes with the permit, which is the lawful use to do it. That's what's necessary. If you are inclined to give time, we ask that you give no more than 30 days, May 1st, to get permits in hand from the appropriate departments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is hear from any of the other board members that want to comment on this.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make an announcement. We have lost Mr. Bradley.
Okay.
You will have to give the speech about only a 3-man panel right now. We're having extremely technical difficulties with him this morning.
Okay. So we currently only have 3 board members, which means that if our decision is not unanimous, which it usually is, then your appeal goes back to the city, which is what the city is requesting for anyways at the moment. If for that reason you prefer not to have your case heard, then let me know and we can set up to have your case rescheduled. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we have Mr. Maskey with his hand raised.
Mr. Maskey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion that the notice of violation was properly issued, and based on the testimony that I've heard, that we should remand this back to the city and the appellant should work with the city to complete all necessary action.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Maskey. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Dank. So go ahead and call the roll.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay.
May I ask what my next step is then, please?
Yes. A matter of fact, I'll have maybe Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, your next step is to have your fire suppression contractor reach out to the Fire Prevention Bureau to make application for their permits to get it reviewed, and that way that they can at least, even prior to the water department, they can begin working on making the corrections and then turn the water on once that happens. But your next step is to get your fire prevention permit and then to reach out to your building inspector for your building inspection.
Thank you so much, everybody. I very much appreciate your time.
Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Davis, did we ever get in touch with A12121?
Mr. Chairman, no.
Okay, all right, then we'll move on to the next docket, A1921 7808 Cedar Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior-exterior maintenance issued October 29, 2021. Appeal statement received November 12th, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant or its representative for the docket of 11921, please state your name for the record.
Mary Seawright.
Okay, Ms. Seawright, you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and let us know what your plans are.
Well, I want to have time to finish the work that needs to be done at the building. And I called the city myself and asked them to come through the building to see what violations might be there. So that's why, it wasn't that the city came and found anything on their own. I wanted to make sure that the property is up to code. So I've done a lot of the work already. The outdoor work, I got a chimney to have tuck pointed on the building. I have where the dumpster sits outside there has to be broken up and replaced. I did talk to someone, but I need, the weather is bad I gotta make sure that the people came and looked at it. They told me that I can't do it right now, but when the weather changes, then I can, that can be done. And inside the building, I wanted to make put the office in the building down there. And the inspector told me that I have to have all of that, the walls and everything cleared out, and I got to get a permit, of course. But I haven't had anyone to come and go through there yet to get a price on having it the walls torn out and find out what the job will cost.
Are you a new owner?
I'm not a new owner. My husband bought that property. It's like he died in 2003, and he had that building for 60 years. So it's no, I mean I'm new at running the business. I've been operating it now for 21 years.
Okay. Okay, well, let me hear from Mr. Vanover and see where we're at here.
So, Mr. Chairman, this was an inspection done under our rental inspection unit. It does, the inspector reports that there is interior work going on. There's pictures for this. I don't know where they are, but we submitted photographs of the conditions of the exterior and the interior. So, I mean, we don't object to more time, but again, it's a business, and it's a substantial building too. This is not a small structure. So the expectation is when it's an investment property that the work is completed. I'm not sure about the request for the inspectors to come in and look for violations, because that's typically, we don't do evaluation work. Our job is regulatory in nature. So once we show up, we have a responsibility to cite for what is there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What, do you have an idea how much time you would need, Miss Seawright?
This is what is almost April, May, June, August. Can I have until September?
Till September.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that would be the beginning of probably weather that would not be good for the exterior, but if you get all that stuff done before then, and I'm assuming she may have to pull some permits. Does that sound right, Mr. Vanover?
It would, Mr. Chairman, the dumpster enclosure would require permits. We would ask that that be done sooner than September. But the balance of the work appears to be tuck pointing and interior maintenance that would not require a permit.
Okay, what was the part that you mentioned you want done first?
The dumpster enclosure and the exterior elements.
Okay, keeping the outside cleaned up and an enclosure for the dumpster. Okay,
Correct.
that's
And tuck pointing, and there's some replacement of some rotting wood on the stairwell as well. It looks like, I mean, as long as it's dependent on how they repair the stairwell. If they just replace it in kind, then a permit won't be necessary. But looking at some of these photos, they may need to replace sections of the stair, and that would require a permit. So my recommendation is to reach out to the inspector, and she'll be able to tell you what permits are needed and which are not.
Okay.
I'm also concerned the dumpster enclosure is, the dumpster pad will require an enclosure, and that's going to require a permit because I believe it's in the setback, and I don't believe you can have, I don't believe you can put the dumpster where it's at.
Oh, okay. She told me that.
Well,
but
that's
she
why
told me I did not need a permit to for the pallet that the dumpster set on, but that I needed to for the fencing. I'm gonna go down to 55th and talk to the people at the fencing company and have them to come out.
Well, they should be aware of the rules.
Uh-huh.
To the appellate.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Maschke has his hand raised.
Okay, Mr. Maschke.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It also has on the list that there are issues with smoke detectors. Have those been repaired?
Yes, I have. I had there was 2 smoke detectors that, yes, I've replaced those. I also have carbon monoxide detectors. So, yes, I have replaced those smoke detectors.
Okay, so that being done, and we want you to work with your inspector on whatever you're going to be doing and what may need a permit. So we're going to ask that you say we give you to May 30th to make sure that you have the fencing and the enclosure done around the dumpster properly, and till September 30th to complete all the rest of the violations.
Okay.
In order.
Thank you.
Okay, motion is in order.
Mr. Chairman, can you please give the year?
Yes, 2022.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mr. Maschke.
Second.
Second by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Maschke,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay.
I can sound off now?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Okay, well, I think you talked about maybe a reschedule on docket 8221.
Yes, I just received a call from the appellant. Apparently, she has been called into jury duty for this week. So we will have to reschedule her again for a later date.
Okay, and we'll move on to the next docket. Docket A 11421 3049 West 51st Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is is exterior maintenance. Issued September 27th, 2021. Appeal statement received October 28th, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton, Law, with the appellant or his or her representative for docket 11421. Please state your name for the record.
Is there a Mr. Cabrera on? See the call-in user number 5.
If you're a call-in user, you can hit *6 on your cell phone to unmute.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. No one having been announcing themselves, do you want to proceed on this matter and have me do my thing and have Mr. Vanover testify, or hold it till the end?
We can do that.
Which one would you prefer, Mr. Chairman? To just proceed or wait?
Do we see anybody trying to come on, Mr. Rulins? I see a caller number 5.
There's a caller number 5, but he's not, or she is not muted. That person's not muted.
Okay.
We have call-in user 6 that is muted. Again, hitting *6, the star key, the number 6 key on your phone will unmute you.
Mr. Chairman, this is Carmela. I move to move this docket as well as docket 115. They are both with the same owner to the end, and we can come back and revisit.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay. All right. See, what do we have? A docket A 11621 3710 Riverside Avenue.
Yes.
Yes.
1 second. Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is no permit. Issued October 7th, 2021. Appeal statement received November 9th, 2021. Requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton, Law. With the appellant for docket 11621, please state your name for the record.
Someone?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Honorinta.
Okay. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Tom.
Okay, I will speak slowly because of language barrier. I was trying to do a fence, back deck and top, second floor deck, and someone came and say it's wrong to do that. You have to stop because you need a permit. And when he left, we took it down. But because my husband will help me.
So, yeah, inspector came to check and said that we were in violation, so we stopped the work, and then we appeal, but in the meantime, we decided not to proceed with the appeal because we decided to take down the structure. So we stopped the work and we remove everything. So we we are asking the city to send someone to come to check because we stop it and we don't want to continue with the procedure anymore.
Okay, I'm gonna consider you to be a translator for your wife, okay? Is that your
Yes.
wife? Okay, and so you're translating for her. Okay, so let me ask Mr. Vanover where we're at on this.
So, Mr. Chairman, yeah, there's two violation notices issued. One is for no permit, and the other one is a stop work order. We do not have any records of any permits currently, and the inspector inspected on 3/7 of 22. Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, when did you remove the deck or the porch?
Long time.
I think like January.
January?
Yeah.
Yeah, January, February, something like that.
Okay, bear with me a moment. I'm looking through my documents. Is there photographs submitted for this, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Ruins?
Mr. Ruins?
I do not believe I have any photographs.
An inspector was supposed to come to check.
Monday was supposed to be here Monday.
So, okay, so yeah, Mr. Chairman, the photographs submitted to, again, I don't know why they're, I'll have to look and see what happened there. But the photographs submitted to the inspector were submitted, the inspection date was 3/7 of 22, and it still shows the second floor deck. But they claim to have removed it in January. So my recommendation is to, we would ask that you, based on this information, that you deny more time, remand it to the Department of Building and Housing. The inspector can then follow up, and if indeed it's been removed, then we can, then they will close the violation accordingly.
Okay, makes sense. So, okay,
Mr.
so,
Chairman?
Ms. Todd, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna deny any time for this, and we're gonna remand it back to the city, and they will inspect, and if indeed what you're saying had occurred, that, you know, the deck's removed, then, you know, it'll be case closed, but if not, they're gonna require that be done, or that a permit be required. So, motion is so in order.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Chairman?
Hold
Go
on
ahead.
just a moment. Who's calling?
This is Carmela.
Carmela, go ahead.
On March 23rd, the appellants came to my office. They had been trying to reach the inspector. As you can see, there is a language barrier. On March 23rd at 9:14 a.m., I emailed the inspector along with his chief to make him aware that they wanted him to come back out to re-inspect to see that the deck, the structure, or whatever was there, was indeed removed to close out the violation notice. I just wanted that on the record.
So it has been removed,
I'm not giving testimony that it has been removed, but they had been trying to get in contact with the inspector. On March 23rd of 2022, I did send an email to the inspector as well as his chief to let him, make him aware that the appellants wanted him to come back out to re-inspect to see that they were no longer in violation.
Okay, well, our motion will take care of that, actually, because they will re-inspect, and if it has been removed, as they say, then it'll be canceled out.
Mr. Chairman, Patty also had her hand raised.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Austin.
Mr. Chairman, very briefly, it appears that they may be homeowner occupants as well. So, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Ta and her husband. Do you live at this property on Riverside?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted the board to be aware of that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So,
Mr. Chair,
go ahead.
if I may ask, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Davis, did you receive a response from the inspector or the chief?
Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Vanover, a response might have came in. However, my system had went down on Thursday. What was that, March 24th? It was not completely restored until March 29th. Therefore, my system is still trying to update on emails that was sent throughout that time. So if something has come through, I just have not gone through the 600 emails in my inbox to see if he responded or not.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, I will verify with the inspector how that worked, because that is testimony on the communication within the department. So I will verify with the inspector when that was done. I just know that this his report was dated 3/7, and it still shows photographs of the deck. That may be immaterial at this point. I think that we can get this rectified based on a follow-up inspection is all it takes.
So we'll give them 30 days so that you have a chance to go out and look at it, and that'll take care of it.
No objection.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and give you 30 days and make sure we get this matter cleared up through you and the city. So that'll be April 29th, 2022. Motion in order.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mr. Dank,
Second.
second by Mr. Maskey. Okay,
Mr.
you'll be
Maskey?
notified in 2 weeks.
Can I do the roll call, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you sure can.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Davis. Okay. Go on to the next docket. A11721 6603 Shaker Avenue.
L'inspecteur va venir pour.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. This is Attorney Eric Allen here on behalf of the appellant.
1 second, right, 1 second, Mr. Maurice, if you can mute. Okay. Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance, issued October 11th, 2021. Appeal statement was received November 9th, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law, with the appellant or his or her representative for docket 11721. Please state your name for the record.
Thank you. This is Attorney Eric Allen on behalf of Overproof Investments LLC. I'm the attorney of record on this case.
All right, I'll ask those that are going to give any testimony to solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Thank you.
Okay, we're underway. Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
Mr. Chair, this is, well, in some respects, it's a rather simplistic request. We're just looking for some additional time to complete the repairs. Some of them include some outside work, and the weather has not, as always, does not play fair at this time of year. So we'd be looking for 30 to 60 days if we could.
Okay, Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, the inspector has reported that the violation notice is compliance final. So at this point, the violation notice has been closed.
Okay. Any action from the board?
If I may, Your Honor, or I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
That's my understanding as well. I just have not, we don't believe we've received that compliance letter from the inspector yet.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, there's not a compliance letter that goes out. There's typically it's just communication that it is closed. So I would have expected that the inspector to have communicated that. But yes, at this point, the notice of violation is closed, and with the exception of, there's an expectation to renew the rental registration. Oh wait, it looks like, yes, so that looks like that was actually just recently renewed as well. So currently there's no violations on this property active with the city of Cleveland.
Okay, thank you.
You
will be notified, Mr. Ling.
Thank
Okay.
you. I think Ms. Aston has her hand up.
Okay, Ms. Aston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under the presumption that the work was done past the compliance date and the appeal was still pending, if you could just give them an abatement date, it should just circle around since technically the appeal's moot, but if you just give them a date, abatement date, thank you.
Okay, so we'll set April 13th, 2 weeks from now, 2022. Motion is in order.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Maskey, second by Mr. Dink.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to the next docket.
Thank you.
We all set. Docket A 12021 2969 East Boulevard.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is a condemnation of the main structure and garage. Issued February 27, 2015. Appeal statement was received November 12, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant or his and her representative, please state your name for the record for docket 12021.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. I do not see anyone else listed and no one's chiming in. Do you want to hold this to the end with the other two, 114 and 115?
Well, we could. We have a, seeing as we're almost at the end, I don't know.
Yeah, then it looks like the next appellant is actually present.
Okay. All right, well, we'll hold this then till the end. Okay, so we'll open up the next docket, housing docket 82121 1110017 Notre Dame Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance. Issued October 7, 2021. Appeal statement received November 12, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant or his and her representative for docket 12121, please state your name for the record.
Kirk Graham.
Okay. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, can you see me? Yes, I do.
Do we have confirmation on Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
Solemnly,
here. Yes.
you solemnly
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. Very good. Go ahead and let us know your plan. Mr. Graham?
All right, that's all. Yeah. That's the house. 37. Okay. Well, check Carmel.
Yes, can you still hear me?
Chair, Patty has her
Can
hand
you
raised.
still hear me?
Okay. Ms. Austin?
So that's the house.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To appellant to Mr. Graham, I would ask if we could announce who he is and in relation to the entity owner, MGM Enterprise Group LLC, because the appeal was made by Blessing Azonwu, AZONWU. So if we could clarify who this person is, Mr. Graham is to the property and the entity And if he will need to have, I don't have a copy, and perhaps Ms. Davis has a copy of a agency letter that he is authorized to proceed.
Ms. Davis?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Ashton, Ms. Pastor Blessings did email me this morning to make me aware that her agent will be acting on her behalf because she is in housing court to evict the tenant that currently resides in the unit that is before us today.
That's fine, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Davis. So long as the board has a record of that.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Graham, may we hear from you?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm actually, I'm the property manager, and I was in the housing court with the tenant, and the problem is the tenant wouldn't, I don't know if the tenant has mental problems or what, the tenant wouldn't allow our workers to come in to make the repairs, so we had to evict the tenant, but I just finished the court. I'm here next door with the lawyer. The tenant won't vacate until what date? Well, no, she's got. If we get the money, she was. Okay, if they receive funds from CHN, she won't be moving till June. If they don't receive funds from CHN, she'll be moving April 26th, and I'm going to contact CHN to go inside and make the repairs. It seems her and Pastor Blessings can't. Her workers, I don't know if she's. I don't know why she won't.
I got you breaking up quite a bit, Mr. Graham. It's hard to understand
the workers in to make the repairs. I apologize. Did you hear everything I said? Did you not hear what I said?
Just part of it.
Okay.
Not fully. Restate it.
Okay. Tenant will not be vacating until June 6th. If they receive payment from Cleveland Housing Network, if the Pastor Blessings doesn't receive a payment, the tenant will be out end of April. In the meantime, the tenant hasn't allowed any workers to come into her property. I'm going to try to see if I can convince her to allow my workers to come in and make the repairs. That's why the repairs haven't been done. The tenant, I don't know if she has mental problems, won't allow Pastor Blessings people to come in to make the repairs.
Okay. Okay. Let's hear from Mr. Vanover on this.
Mr. Chairman, this says, again, there's interior and exterior violations on this property. I understand that, tenant difficulties are tenant difficulties. However, this is the business. There are legal remedies through the court to gain access to, and tenant landlord law allows for provisions for landlords to enter the property. But there's exterior issues on this property that can also be rectified. The expectation is, as I've said numerous times, that this work is completed prior to the city needing to come out and, as part of do our inspection. So we would ask that any time be limited and not based on when they're able to evict the tenant, because it sounds like that is not necessarily imminent.
Okay. Okay. How much time do you think you need to abate these problems?
Well, I just got involved with this property in November, and now that it is almost April and the weather has broken, I would ask for 30 to 60 days to make the repairs. If I have to get the police to bring me in to make the repairs, I shall do so. Pastor Blessing doesn't live in Ohio, and I don't know the people she was dealing with before, but I'm very well experienced with this. And I just spoke to legal aid and the tenant, and I believe that I will be able to get myself or my people in to make the repairs.
Okay. So you're thinking 60 days you can have this taken care of?
Yes, I believe so.
All right. So motion to correct all the violations by May 30th, 60 days, 2022. Motion so in order? Okay. Motion by Mr. Denk. Mr. Maskey.
Chairman, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, can you give me that date again? May what?
May 30th. May 30th is 60 days, 2022.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, you will be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next docket, A2221, 13702 McElhatton Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is no permit, interior exterior maintenance. Issued on October 19th, 2021. Appeal statement received November 12th, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant or his and her representative for docket 12221, please state your names for the record.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. I do not see anyone under this name logged in, other than there is a call-in user 5, but no one.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that you call the docket.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll go ahead.
You could swear in Mr. Vanover, then I'll do my.
Okay. All right. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, preliminarily, Patricia McGinty Aston for the City of Cleveland Law Departments. Since no appellant has announced themselves on this WebEx, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's public hearing returned to the board's file for any reason whatsoever?
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Aston, no.
And Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, do you have any, at this time, any indication that the appellant attempted to contact you via phone, voicemail, fax, or email, or any such manner?
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Aston, as I stated previously, my networking system did go down on Thursday. I am still currently going through emails as well as voicemails that has been populating on my system. So I cannot state at this time whether the appellant did try to contact me.
Okay, and I'm presuming that's going to happen, Mr. Chairman, for all the remaining dockets. So either the board could choose to, because of the technical difficulties, which in fairness to all the appellants who are not present currently, if something happened and they have been attempting to contact the board will be obligated to recall the dockets in the future if you find that, or so I don't know if you want to just continue all the remaining dockets or do this on each docket. It's totally up to the board at this point, but there is at least a possibility that some of these appellants have tried to reach the board. So whichever way the board would like to handle this. We could either hear them all now with maybe having to come back and reopen, or we could proceed.
Okay, let me hear from Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, this regarding the property at 13702 McElhatton, the inspector reports that as of their March 15th inspection, that the property was in compliance and the violation notice has been closed.
Okay.
So we would not object to a compliance time of through the hearing.
Okay. Okay. So we will go ahead and do that. Today's the 30th, so we'll give the compliance date for today, 2022, March 30th, to comply with the order. Motion?
So moved.
So
Mr.
moved.
Dank? Second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, before we move to 123, the appellant is here in the office, and let me get her dialed in on the phone, so give me 1 second.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, which case are we going to?
We're going to go to the last case, A2321, 7109 Blackyear Avenue.
What's the address? I don't see it.
7109 Lockyer Avenue.
Okay, so give me 1 quick second after we swear you in, then you give your testimony. Okay.
I don't seem to have a.
You don't have it up there, huh? Okay. We're going to
It
open
doesn't
it.
appear to be on the PowerPoint.
Okay. We'll go ahead with it. Docket A12321, 7109 Lockyer Avenue.
Application fees are in order. Notice of violation is renter registration issued on October 19th, 2021. Appeal statement received November 15th, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant for docket 12321, please state your name for the record.
My name is Cynthia Striblin.
Okay, Ms. Stribler, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and tell us what your plans are.
All the inside work is already done. I need time for the outside work to be done. The inspector came out and he done everything from the inside. Everything else is just the outside.
Okay. You have a rental registration?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's hear from Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, can you give me the address again? I'm having trouble finding it.
7109 Lockyer Avenue.
Mr. Chairman, this is
Patty
Patty.
has her hand raised.
Thank you, Maurice. Mr. Chairman, Patricia McGinty Aston for the City of Cleveland Law Department on behalf of the Building Department. To Ms. Stribling, the appellant's representative. Who are you to the property, ma'am?
I'm her mother.
Okay, I wanted to go down the, do we have authority road? So the agency, I'll leave that to the board's determination if you have that proper.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, it appears that there are 3 notices of violation issued on this property. One is for a failure to register as a rental. That has been corrected. The registration is currently renewed. Then there's the interior, exterior rental violations. And then there's a illegal use of violation notice written as well. Could we verify which cases are actually, which one is actually before the board today?
Well, illegal use wouldn't be, would that fall underneath zoning?
No, Mr. Chairman, it would fall, illegal use and unauthorized use can be cited under either, out of the building code or out of the, zoning code. And it appears.
Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Vanover, the codes that was used on the unauthorized illegal use were cited underneath the zoning.
It is, okay. Then
This is Patty. The VN lists actually both building and zoning. It lists 3103.23 as well as the zoning codes. So they did put in both building code and the zoning code. So this board, under previous case law before Judge Pianka, you do have the authority to hear this because they did cite under the building code as well. Thank you.
Okay, what's the illegal use, Mr. Vanover?
Mr. Chairman, it was cited for the authorized occupancy is a two-family, and it's been converted to a single-family home.
Okay. So there's paperwork they have to do in order to make that legal, right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I mean, there's more than paperwork. They need to make application and submit plans, and it needs to be reviewed and approved by the Department of Building and Housing. But my question still remains, which notices of violation were submitted for appeal? I know oftentimes this board will hear multiple violation notices under an appeal when they're all submitted at the same time. So I don't know that this is actually before the board or that an appeal was filed timely.
Well, it sounded like through Ms. Aston that both boards were cited and that we can hear it. And so I think it's a matter of a time issue. She took care of, when I'm showing rental registration, you said there's three things. One of them is violation of illegal use. The rental registration she took care of. What is the third one?
The third one is the interior, exterior inspection by the rental inspection unit those are actual maintenance items.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. I think to clarify Mr. Vanover's inquiry, the city in its service of the packet of the docket for today's hearing under docket A-12321 only received two notices attached to the appeal. The rental registration, which Mr. Vanover stated has been corrected, as well as the unauthorized illegal use under building code 3103.23 for this board's jurisdiction. We were not notified that this board either was provided with or took in the interior exterior maintenance violation. So the city's presumption is that we are only proceeding on this illegal use, not the maintenance. Or is that the board's understanding? We're asking for clarification what the board is hearing on this appeal. Are you including everything, or are you only including what was provided to the board?
Let me hear from Ms. Davis. She has her hand up.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, to Vanover and Ms. Aston, upon my research, when appellants come in, I look in the system to see what open violation pertaining to the property is, and will usually include them in there. The one that Mr. Vanover is speaking to in regards to maintenance issues, I did not see that in the system when I took any application. Maybe I just didn't have access to it. So I did take in the rental registration, and I did take in the illegal unauthorized use.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, legally, what is before the board is the unauthorized use. You did not take in, we would ask that you not proceed on the maintenance violation, as that is not technically before the board. I believe, is that correct, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Vanover?
Yes, that would be, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Aston, yes, that would be the request, that it's not before the board and that the board
So
doesn't hear it.
that is the request, Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
that you are hearing the illegal unauthorized use before the board and only that one. Thank you.
Okay, so what we'd be looking at then is time for her to fill out what she has to do for the inspection for that violation. So how much time, Ms. Stribling, do you think you need?
From what I'm understanding with you guys, the illegal use is what the, I had to get an architect to draw the house up, and I'm waiting on that from the 4th. She said I'll have that in my hand, and then the contractor have to come down and pull the permit, correct?
Sounds reasonable.
Mr. Chairman, that is correct.
Okay, there you go.
So I'm just waiting on her to give it to me. She said she'll have it to me by the 4th, but she's supposed to have it to me 2 weeks ago, but I'm working on someone else's time.
Okay. He was saying the 4th. So, okay, so if we gave 30 days to get this in, right?
Yeah.
That would seem reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so by April 29th, 2022, to correct that.
Yep, so once I get it, I can just bring it right down to the building and housing with all the drawings.
That would be my understanding, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion is in order, April 29th, 2022.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mr. Maskey,
Second.
second by Mr. Denk.
Okay, thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're reopening.
Mr. Chairman, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Sorry about that. We can move on.
Okay, who is calling user number 5?
Oh, that might be me. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, when Mr. Vanover speaks, it lights up, so I was gonna guess it was him.
I'm sorry. Typically, yeah, that's me.
Okay, we have 3 dockets that I'm assuming I don't see any appellants for, so I'll just say that name each one and we will reschedule those 3 dockets. How does that sound?
Given what Ms. Davis said, you don't even need to call them forward. You can just go ahead and reschedule them because
Okay,
of what she
very
previously
good.
said. In fairness to the appellants, we would have to do that anyway, and we're not going to object to that based upon the technological problems on the city's behalf with her system. It would
Okay,
be.
we'll do that then. Ms. Davis?
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to approval of resolutions. So we have docket A 8121, A 10321, A 10421, 10521, 10721, 10821, 10921, 11021, 11121, A 11321. Motion?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mr. Maskey,
Second.
second by Mr. Dank.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. The approval of the minutes for March 16, 2022, are there any additions or corrections?
No.
Okay, so motion,
So moved.
Mr. Dank,
Second.
Mr.
Second.
Maskey,
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
yes. Okay, if there's no other business to come before us, we are now adjourned.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to give an update on the State House legislation.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait 1 second. We're still live.
We're still live. Okay, we'll have to come
Can we
off
thank
that.
Dennis while we're